Hi everybody. So these 2 weeks were so much filled with the condensed amount of things that happened in a contrast with the beginning of the month. So I was a bit overwhelmed and hesitated to create that video, but I think it's time to announce the very important things, the important change that came into my life. And as you can see, the background has changed, and that's because I finally moved. I was actually waiting for that for a long time and planning this branch of opportunity, and it appeared very interesting and exciting change. So now you may find me in Israel. Following the chronological line, back in Tbilisi, I've shot an interview with my friends artist Nadia and Maroon, and it appeared very interesting and very alive, and I feel that every new interview that I take become much more interesting and immersive. So I'll definitely continue doing that here right now with my new friends that I will meet for sure very soon. So after the interview, I was preparing for the very important event that I've organized. It was the goodbye event, and it was the art fair and the art auction combined with the performance by me, which was called the Burn and Fire, but actually kind of cycled the whole state and of myself and the whole series of works that I've created in my period in Georgia. So fire actually is my state, and what's born in fire dies in fire. So the performance was meant to finish the cycle, make the point at the series. So the idea was that I offer my works for sale, and in this exact performance, there was the limited amount of works, especially the Citrinitas series. So if nobody bet for the work at auction, I simply burn them, because it's not only symbolic of that temporary state of the life in emigration and the life in general, which has come to an end at some point, my life as an artist in Georgia. But also it was a very practical thing for me, because I have no opportunity to move the works with me. So for me, this event and performance especially has the very layered symbolism, and it felt really good to end like this, because for me, through fire, the whole transformation happens. So I felt like this must be the ending point. Everything behind must burn for me to be able to be reborn again in the new environment, the new phase of life, the new artistic vector. So yeah, it was very impressive and very important. And you may see the fragments of this here, and I will also upload the whole performance as a separate video. And after that, the actual movement happened. It was not very tough, actually, but I found myself in a very different environment. Met my beautiful family here, and I was really overwhelmed by the new experience and new impressions that I still actually feel a little bit derealized about my position and about the general situation, because that's not like changing the flat. It's not like even changing the city within the country. And it's not like changing the country to the nearby country. It's the very different culture, the very different language, the very different weather and climate. So for me, moving to Georgia was much more simple and predictable after Russia than moving to Israel after Georgia, because that's the whole another world, and it's so interesting to explore And it's also so unexpectedly friendly and welcoming that I'm also very, very grateful for everything that's happening. So I'm really filled with different kinds of emotions. So it's pretty hard to express right now. I need some time to digest them, I guess. A lot of interesting things happened already here. For example, I visited the Renaissance Fest, which is held by the guys making the reenactment of the 12th century, the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And they actually have some mutual friends with mine because they are also Russian speaking, and they know some people from St. Petersburg who are also in the reenactment community. And I don't think that I mentioned that, but I did reenactment before when I lived in Russia. I've made the early medieval period of Scandinavia, which is pretty popular in St. Petersburg. And I was very into this historical stuff and historical fencing as well, not only recreating the daily life of that period. So I introduced myself to them and they allowed me to enter their club. So I guess in July I would join them in their very, very exciting event, the March on Hatyn. Is the historical march, which is following the last march of the Crusaders that failed under the army of Saladin back into 12th century. So here on the actual place of all that significant historical moments, the reenactment makes much more sense and filled with the condensed amount of symbology and meanings and feelings, I guess. So I'm very excited about that. And in general, the course of reenactment and that I'm going to take, it is very interconnected with the topic that I'm interested in, which is spirituality and the spiritual culture in that region right here is very rich and very interesting to explore in the real life and to recreate in some points. That for me, it's also the extension of my artistic exploration. Also, the last days in Tbilisi and the first days here, I've been creating the little works that I've mentioned in the previous video. I'll show you. So here are they, the little images of the roots in the genre of the walking art. So the sigils are the depictions of my walks as my last intention in Tbilisi and the first intention here. So there's plenty of them, I guess around 20 or something. And I'm thinking about combining them into collage and creating a larger work. I was talking about that in the previous video, but I will repeat that for me, this little project is about showing the intention, direction, and the manifestation of will through observing the movement of the physical body in the space. So yeah, and that at least that's the simplest thing that I was able to do because I still haven't unpacked my baggage, and I'm going to move to another flat again soon. And also I really have no like physical and emotional resources to create something bigger and more interesting in some way. So yeah. Well, so I think that's finally it. I'm happy to create this video because that was really hard to start and all that thunder of events and things that happening around me. So thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your attention and support as well. Please like and subscribe if you didn't. And also, if you want to support me even more, I have a Ko-Fi profile, so you may leave a little tip for coffee, and I would be very, very grateful for that. Wish you all the best, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one.